All right, away we go on Niners Nightly. Larry Krueger back from New Orleans. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Kind of a warm day out here in the creek, but welcome to Niners Nightly on the Sports Leaders YouTube channel. Hope everybody is enjoying the 49ers beginning to their year. I know I am. We had a very enjoyable weekend in Louisiana, and fired up to be back out of the humidity. Man, the humidity that they have there is just off the chain. I mean, you walk outside and it's just thick, absolutely thick. And it just was so hot, and it was just it was a hot weekend for sure. Lots of sweat, 80 degrees at night, but we had a phenomenal time. We really had a good time. And it was an incredible weekend. You know, we spent Friday night in the quarter, then we went Saturday, we went to LSU and Baton Rouge to see LSU in Florida, which was an amazing night. Then we got back, we came back for Niners Saints on Sunday morning, went out to Cochon on Sunday night for dinner, and then last night, you know, yesterday did a lot of work, a lot of streamed with Grant, streamed with Damon and Sam, streamed with Dieter, did a KMBR hit with Greg Silver and JD. So yesterday was a big work day, and then last night went to this killer place, the Caesars Casino in New Orleans, and just the 8K screens, because I wanted to watch Eldridge's Giants debut, and I had money on the Chargers against the Raiders last night, so I wanted to see both games, and then I'm watching it in 8K in this killer place. I mean, just a fantastic place to watch sports. So, and then streamed after that, after the Monday night game, streamed with Dieter. Would say I caught a little, got a little sleep, but I really didn't. I did not sleep. I have not slept in 2 days. I mean, I'm not even joking. I did not sleep. So yesterday was just work, more work, and more work. I mean, we streamed, and then I, hit the Monday night game, and then I streamed with Dieter, and we did a 2.5 hour stream that started at 11 something Central Time. So we didn't, I didn't finish up with Dieter until about 2:00 in the morning Central Time. Our flight was at 5. We had to leave. We had to call the Uber at 3. So I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm literally operating on no sleep. Did not sleep at all last night, but we got a lot of Niner stuff to get to. And I think if you're a 49er fan, you got to feel good. You got to feel good. How do you feel as a 49er fan? I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Mitchell and Ness is there. He says, Larry. Mitchell and Ness says dry heat over humidity all day. Yeah, I'm not saying that I want to be in Arizona in July where it's 116 and you're, burning your hand on your steering wheel, trying to drive to the grocery store. I mean, that might be a little much. And my son spent a summer in Austin. He's like, Dad, it was brutal. So Texas heat can be really bad. I have a buddy who moved from Texas to Vegas, and he's like, yeah, I'm moving to Vegas because I can't handle the heat. I'm like, you can't handle the heat? You're moving to Vegas? He's like, no, it's a totally different deal. It's a much drier heat than the heat of Texas. And I'm like, well, I get it. I've been to Houston. In fact, we laid over in Houston, going and coming. We didn't go outside at all, but I mean, Houston to me is the worst climate, maybe the worst climate in America. I mean, it's just awful, absolutely awful climate, sweaty as hell, just huge bugs everywhere. And then it goes from sweaty to kind of cold, and they have kind of some harsh winter conditions sometimes. And it's 85 and raining and cloudy, and it's 92 degrees and no sun in the sky, just totally cloudy. I mean, that's just that kind of weather. I mean, when I got off the bird at SFO today, and I walked outside, and it's Northern California. It's 9:00 in the morning. It's going to be an 80-degree day along the peninsula, And I'm just sitting there going, gosh, it's like 60. We don't have any bugs. We have no humidity. I mean, there's a reason that it costs an arm and a leg to live here. It's because we got a better situation than a lot of people. Our weather is quite a bit better. All right, but let's talk Niners. What did you guys think of Mac Jones? Mac Jones was amazing on third down. He really played well. I was really happy to see it. I want to play some of these cuts because there's a couple cuts today that really pissed me off. And let's just get to it. We won't, normally we start with what is the news of the day in Ninerland, and we'll get to that in a second. But I want to start with some of these quotes because some of these quotes are some of these sound bites are ridiculous. First, we're going to start with Mina Kimes, who, everybody's got some allegiance. And I guess she's a Seahawk fan. I didn't know that. I don't really care that much about Mina Kimes. I mean, she seems kind of snarky, whatever. Some people think she's great. Oh, amazing. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I don't consume her enough to say whether she's great, mediocre, terrible. I had people in the chat saying, saying Krueger, she's terrible. And other people saying, no, Mina knows her stuff. Here's what she had to say. You decide for yourself if she knows her stuff. Here's what she had to say. She said that Mac Jones wasn't that the 49er situation is not a great situation. And here it is.
What's your opinion of Mac Jones coming in now? I was saying earlier on, Mina, that this is why you got him. You got him to perform well in a 2 to 5 week situation. And this is the guy that we all thought, or a lot of people thought, the Niners were targeting when they moved up to third overall back in the draft in 2021. So they like him. Now it's time to win with him.
Yeah, ironic. I am of the belief that Kyle Shanahan did always want Mac Jones, and because he just had a lot of the qualities it seemed as a prospect that Shanahan has been known to like in his quarterbacks. I question whether or not the situation around Mac Jones is good enough to enable this offense to keep rolling. We know Kittle's out. Watching them week 1 against Seattle, the offensive line to me had a lot of problems. Brock Purdy was under pressure a lot. Admittedly, again, like I said, against a very, very good defense. The run game looked just okay with McCaffrey back. And of course, you don't have Brandon Ayuk. Ricky Pearsall looked good, but this is not like Mac Jones, getting into the Ferrari and getting given the keys. If this was a couple of years ago, I would feel very different about him being slotted into this. And of course, Kyle Shanahan's, one of the best play callers in the business, but this is not a great situation that he is stepping into. So I'm pretty skeptical of this Niners offense with him.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. It's not a great situation. I mean, really? It's not a great situation. She just said Kyle Shanahan's a great play caller. The people that would say it's not a great situation would probably start and say Kyle Shanahan's overrated. She's not even going there. She's like, Kyle Shanahan's a hell of a play caller. He's a great play caller. I think she's what she said. And I kind of agree. So we'll go with that as the premise. So you got a great play caller, right? You have weapons. These are your weapons. George Kittle, he's Pro Bowler. Kyle Juszczyk, Pro Bowler. Christian McCaffrey, Pro Bowler. Brandon Ayuk, Pro Bowl talent for sure. Juwan Jennings, money receiver. Ricky Pearsall, first round pick. Brian Robinson, they got a second starting caliber running back. Then you say, well, okay, so if you don't think you love Shanahan, but you don't think it's a good situation, I just named a bunch of Pro Bowl talents. Not to mention there's some underrated guys like Jordan Watkins that are pretty damn good as well. Well, what about the line? Your blindside protector is arguably the best left tackle of his generation. Probably the biggest surprise and the biggest positive out of nowhere surprise is that Connor Colby looks like he's going to be a hell of a left guard. So the left side of your line is this really good left guard and maybe the best left tackle ever. Maybe, definitely the best left tackle of his era. And you've got a play caller that you like and multiple weapons that have gone to the Pro Bowl. What don't you like? What don't you like? And I bet, these are the same people that if you said to her, are the 49er receivers better or worse than last year? She'd be worse. They're worse. They're way worse. Really? I think they're better. The 49ers were 32nd in the NFL last year in wide receiver separation. These awesome badasses that you love so much, Mina Kimes, didn't separate worth a damn. Worst in the league. Worst separating wide receiver core in the league last year, San Francisco 49ers. Debo he lost all of his speed, put on weight. It's no longer any kind of a route runner. I mean, one of the most overrated players in football, in my opinion. I mean, he's got a big name, big rep. Everybody knows Debo. When people talked about the Niners who didn't know squat about the Niners, and they would talk about this year, the reason they would discount the Niners is because they lost Debo. And anybody who's watched the Niners knows Debo's been done for 3 years. Debo averaged 2.5 yards a carry last year. 2.5, as in 1, 2.5. He's not a route runner. He's not a deep threat. He didn't score a bunch of touchdowns. I mean, what was his impact? He stood up to Tabor Pepper. He went after the kicker in his darkest moment. He made up some bullshit lie about how he's not losing it, but he's just not getting the ball. And the next week he got the ball and proved to everybody that he's just kind of was losing it. I mean, what are we talking about? He's one of the most overrated players in the last 4 or 5 years in the NFL. Everybody knows Debo, that name, Debo. After a while, all you got is that name. That's all he's got. He ain't going to do much. I would be shocked if he's in the league in 3 years. Shocked. And I don't think he's going to have a big year this year. So we'll see. But I mean, Mac Jones is not in a good situation. Really? He's not in a good situation. 49ers, iconic franchise. 49ers, I just came from New Orleans. Guess what Cam Jordan was talking about today? He was talking about how the Niner fans took over their freaking building. He was talking about how the Niner fans took over the Superdome. He was bemoaning the fact that the Niner fandom is so dominant and so awesome. This is a bad situation. Playing for this team, packing stadiums on the road. The Niners are probably the best traveling team in football right now. Their fan base is everywhere. They show up in number. So, I mean, what are we talking about? What's so bad about the Niners situation? I'd love to know. And these people are like, well, her point was she didn't have a point. Trent Williams played great, and he played. He's the best left tackle in the game. Mac Jones has the best left tackle in the game. Arguably one of the most accomplished groups of receivers in the game. When you mix in McCaffrey and Robinson and Kittle, he's probably got as good a weaponry as almost any quarterback going. You just said Shanahan's a great play caller. You got a great left tackle. You got an iconic franchise. You're packing the house on the road. You're an iconic franchise. What? What is she talking about? Would he rather be back in Jacksonville? And then, I mean, I thought that was the most comical comment by Mina Kimes. It's not a great situation, not as good a situation as it's been. Says who? I mean, says who? Who do the Niners? Who do they used to have that's awesome that they don't have? Ayuk, and they still have Ayuk. It's not like she's talking. Ayuk didn't play this weekend, but they have him on the team. That was a very bizarre comment by her. So, I'm like, seems like a great situation to me. I tweeted this out. Skilled play caller in Shanahan, proven successful offensive system that produces points. weapons galore, the best left tackle of his generation, a terrific left guard prospect, playing for an iconic franchise that, sets their sights every year on one thing and one thing only, and that's winning their 6th Lombardi trophy. The Niners play on national TV and primetime windows more than most teams in the league. You play all the time in front of packed stadiums, even on the road, where your fans dominate on the road. I'm like, yeah, sounds awful. Bet he wished he was still in Jacksonville. And then I said, good analyst, lame take. Now, I think she's a good analyst at times. And then her apology squad came out of the woodwork. A guy named Brandon says, I don't think her take was bad at all. It's not a great situation, especially looking in from afar. What does that mean? So now we're taking into account, if you don't know what you're saying, if you're really far away from it, you don't really know what you're talking about. So that's now, we're using that as a measuring stick. Well, considering that she's really far away from it and doesn't really know about what she's talking about, that's the point. That is the point. She says, this guy says, you named 5 players who I agree they are good, but 3 of them were out and a 4th was questionable at the time she said this. If everyone was healthy, it would be a different story. Nobody's got a fully healthy roster. But she was making it seem like it's not a great situation for Mac. And that means it's not just about this week. And by the way, the Niners were favored and they won. And they were up 26-14 until the very end. And, that game was not even as close as it looked. I heard somebody today say, the Saints had a chance at the end to win the game. What, really? I guess a puncher's chance. I mean, they I guess, yeah, you could say they got the ball back and they were within 7. So I guess you can make that argument. But really, I mean, the Niners, when they went up 26-14, pretty much put that game on ice. And at that point, I think Robert Saleh even stopped calling the game the same. He was happy to let them possess the ball and move the ball down the field, just as long as they took a bunch of time to do it, and they did. So I don't know. I don't know. Other people, Tesla _ says, classic case of a national journalist that knows very little about the team, but has heard a lot of bad things, i.e. injuries, and therefore inaccurate view of where the team really is. I'm not going to put down her career. She's got a career. She's making a lot of money. She's obviously doing something right. And there's a lot of people that feel like that her takes are really good. And I've heard her be good. But you're going to ask a Seahawk fan, basically somebody that whatever year she came to, the year before she came to ESPN, she was just a Seahawk fan, right? And then all of a sudden she's now on ESPN. So you're going to, have somebody who's a fan of the team. I mean, it's like Cowherd the other day. He's picked the Rams. He picked the Niners to finish last. And then suddenly he has to do this oddball filibuster where he's all over the map about Brock and Mac and Kyle and expectations. And it's like, dude, you want to pass out a flow chart after so we can understand where you're coming from? You've carved out just the weirdest spot because you're trying to protect your takes from yesterday and trying to preserve the ability to rip in the future and all these, Cowherd's got a million things going on. And you just sit there and go, what are you even talking about? I mean, do you even know what you're talking about? You're all over the map. All right. So that was first take. That was Mina Kimes saying that Mac Jones is going into a bad situation. A bad situation would be the situation that he left. A player that he's probably better than is starting in front of him, and he's never going to start in front of Lawrence. So that's a bad situation. You don't have Trent Williams. You don't have Kittle. You don't have CMC. You don't have Ayuk. You don't have Jordan Watkins. You don't have Trent Williams. You don't, you're not an iconic franchise. You're not selling out your home games, let alone packing houses on the road. You're not all in it to win the Super Bowl. Shad Khan's all in it to try to establish the Jaguars as a big time player in London. He's more interested in their international brand building than them actually winning a championship. or at least that's what it appears like from the outside. So, I mean, Jacksonville is the situation Mac Jones left is the bad situation. So it always kills me. These people that they love Shanahan. Shanahan's the greatest. You're going to argue that a quarterback that has great weapons and the best left tackle protecting his blind side is basically running the plays of a offensive mind that you think is awesome, but you don't think you don't think it's a good situation? To me, that's contradictory. That's just like, hey, you know what? I'm a Seahawk fan. I don't want the 49ers. I don't want to make it seem like the 49ers have anything good going on, even though they just beat the Seahawks last week with Brock Purdy. I mean, I think the 49ers are in a pretty good spot. They won in week 1 with Purdy. He looked decent. They win in week 2 with Mac Jones. He looked decent in week 2. I asked Dom Pooney in the locker room in the Superdome at the end of the game. I'm like, hey, Dom, it's got to feel great. You guys have literally 2 quarterbacks that you can win games with. And he's like, you know, I was just talking about that this morning. He's like, we have 2 guys that we can win with. And what a spot that is to be in. Go ask the Browns if they would like to have 2 quarterbacks they could win with. They'd be like, hell yeah. We'll take Mac Jones. We'll take Brock Purdy. And it's funny too, because Brock's mobile and Mac's more of a pocket passer. But very similar in a lot of traits. They both process at the line of scrimmage. They're both distributors of the football. They both are like point guards out there trying to get it into the hands of their playmakers. They do it a little differently. Brock's got that second level mobility. Mac's got a little bit bigger stature. If you notice that one of the things that didn't happen in the game on Sunday is I don't think Mac Jones got any balls batted down. Did he? Did the Saints get their hand on the ball? I don't remember that. If they did, I don't remember that. So he can see over the line a little bit better. But I think both guys very similar. They can throw with touch and timing and rhythm. By the way, I'm going to try to get him on the show, but JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school on Mac Jones is out right now, and it's really good. It's really good. I'm about 80% of the way through it. I'm going to watch it more of it at the end of this night. But, I mean, JT's so good at watching the film and just kind of speaking about all the elements and kind of just, if you want to learn about the game and you don't know about the game, I mean, it's a great way to learn the game. You can join his like Patreon, pay thing. But I mean, he first broke down a play where Mac hit Pearsall on the in route. And, it's like he lays it out there. You had both backs. He had a 21 personnel. You had both backs chipping on the edges. And he threw it to Pearsall on an in route. And, you could see Mac's on time and in full rhythm. Pearsall had a great route because he kind of came back to the football. His angle on the in cutter was he worked back a couple steps and got in front of the defender, and quarterbacks love that. JT O'Sullivan's like, I love that. Of course you do. You're a quarterback. You quarterbacks want the receiver to come back to the ball. They don't want to, get out there and have the quarterback isolated and maybe throw a pick. All the quarterbacks I've golfed with through the years, when they're talking about their favorite receivers, they're like, man, blah, 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 will go get it for you. I mean, that's what quarterbacks say about receivers that they love. Man, he'll go get it for you. He'll go get it for you. In other words, I'm going to put up a half dozen 50-50 balls over the course of the game, and I need to know that my guy is going to go fight for that ball in the air because he's basically fighting for my interceptions. He's fighting to make sure I don't throw a bunch of interceptions. That's what JJ does. That's what Juwan Jennings does. That's what Ayuk does. These guys go to the football and they fight for it. And Pearsall showed that on that in cutter. So that was the first play they broke down. And then on the first touchdown pass, it really just looked like, the Niners it was a nice little play design. He had Farrell, the tight end, just a little what he called like a kind of a check flat or a bang flat, where basically the The tight end comes off the line of scrimmage, bangs heads with somebody, creates a little separation, and then just drops into the flat. And, Jones, really, if you go back and watch that first touchdown, this is the first touchdown. Jones really, he looked good. I mean, he looked good on this play. It was Jones off the naked QB keeper. And, you got to get the ball out fast. And he did. He got the ball out fast to Luke Farrell in the flat. Niners were in 22 personnel. And he also Mac carried out a beautiful play fake on the play action. So it was like a play action boot, quarterback keeper, naked keeper, and he throws it out. He's got 3 guys out in the flat, and he just had to choose who he wanted. He got the ball out quickly to Farrell. And, he just carries out this beautiful play fake where he really stared at it and sold it. And I'm going to ask Mac about that because I thought it was a beautiful play fake. And it's the kind of play fake that shows that Mac Jones is working on the nuances of playing quarterback. Just he kind of goes forward with like the 2-hand handoff, and then he hands it to him with the one hand. And then even though Mac's got the ball in his other hand, he gave it a good 1,000 stare down, like he doesn't have the ball in his hand, carrying out the play fake. And it made all the difference in the world. When he flipped around, he had a 3-on-2 with where he just basically had to decide. He had to decide where do you want to go? They had the defenders kind of caught in between. It was a beautiful play design. It really was. And some quarterbacks can't throw that ball. They can't throw the ball. The mechanics aren't good. The accuracy's not good. They can't throw it through people. They can't layer it over people. That's not Mac's issue. It was a really interesting play. He carries out a beautiful play fake on the play action handoff. And it was really, really well done. Then he pumped it to CMC, and he pulls it and flips it over to Farrell, and there you go. Really, really nice play. Really, really nice play. The one thing that you can see from Mac Jones, he throws with a lot of anticipation. Those anticipatory throws, and that's what Brock does as well. And it's funny. JT O'Sullivan in this video breaking down Mac Jones is like, he's got good enough arm strength. And, we can sit there and talk about this guy and that guy and how he compares to the greatest arms of all time, but that's not really what it's about. He's like, at the end of the day, it's like, do you or don't you? Do you or don't you have requisite arm strength to play in the NFL? And if you don't, you can't play. And if you do, you can play. And if you do, it's not worth analyzing. And if you don't, it's probably not worth, fighting over it either, because there's not a lot you can do about it. So, this is a very, very accurate passer who can process what he sees, and the ball's coming out on time. He knows where to go. He cares about the nuances of the position. And JT did a really nice job just breaking down how Mac Jones can throw with anticipation. He knows where he's got enough of mental going on that he knows the play. He knows where guys are supposed to be. He understands where the void is in the defense. So yeah, does he have incredible mobility? No, he doesn't. But he has the ability to make plays in this offense, and did. All right, another soundbite I want to share with you guys. Okay, what happened? Did I flip my my camera? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Now we're going to share the screen again. And hit the wrong button there. Here we go. We will share the screen and play you Nick Wright. And Nick Wright is so annoying. He's another guy. I don't know who's more annoying between Cowherd and Nick Wright. But Nick Wright just always, he's just the anti-Purdy. And here it is.
What I was going to say.
And it's just like he's always the biggest opinion in the room, but he's got no credentials compared to like Mangini, who's got tremendous credentials. But here they're talking about Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Here it is, and then we'll comment.
What I was going to say is that oftentimes in sports debates, Coach, we are debating something that we can never actually prove.
Yeah.
We're never going to get the perfect scenario to test out our thesis.
Control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why science is better. Like you can,
Science
you
is
set
better
up
than
a,
sports.
yeah, well, it's better to prove things, right? Serendipitously with the San Francisco 49ers,
Nice
we have
work.
gotten it. We got to see in real time what would happen if you dropped in a quarterback that Brew and I both agree and have hours of tape of us both saying is not good.
Pro Bowler.
And Brew, literally,
He was a Pro
because
Bowler.
see,
Wow.
hold
Won
on,
10
wait,
games.
no,
Right, he won
no,
10
no,
games.
you guys,
He beat
you
out
guys,
Cam Newton.
we can do this all with smiles, but he's going to play for another month, and I very strategically and purposefully asked you, Brew, before this year started. We both agree Mac Jones is not good, right? And you were in lockstep with me. We
You
can
got the video?
No, I don't have the video right now. And what we saw was, even though he didn't even have, as we would say it, many of the Avengers at all. He had Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey, and it was enough for Mac Jones to look really good. It's almost as if, Coach, there's a lot of quarterbacks that as long as they have a starting caliber at any point in them, if you drop them into Kyle Shanahan's system and they have just enough help, they can look really good. And so to go back to a real argument we had, it's another reason why I would have maybe waited to pay Brock Purdy, because I think you could maybe get this level of production from a guy like Mac Jones.
This is one game. Brock Purdy has done it for 3 seasons.
Well, last
Brock
season
Purdy
he
has
didn't do
gotten
anything
a
like
team,
this.
but he did it the year before. He got him to the Super Bowl. Is Mac Jones going to be top 5 in MVP voting?
No, but is Brock Purdy
You
ever
think he
going to be
could?
again? No,
Well,
I don't think he ever
but he
could be
has
again.
done it.
Yeah.
Is Mac Jones going to lead them to the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think Brock Purdy led him to the Super Bowl. He was the
He
quarterback.
was in the Super Bowl, left the field with the lead.
Yeah.
Do you think Mac Jones could do that?
Well, I didn't think Brock Purdy could do that. So maybe.
And I'll
he
give
could
you a
too.
list of names who
No,
couldn't
they
do it.
weren't starters.
C.J. Beathard.
No, we're not at the
Brian
CJ.
Hoyer.
We got to move on.
No.
Nick Mullins,
Those guys
Trey
weren't
Lance.
starters.
Trey
Those guys
Lance,
weren't
who
starters.
you thought was all that.
Those
Look,
guys weren't starters. Bro.
I mean, my goodness.
I thought it was a really nice game for Mac Jones.
Thank you.
And I'm happy that he had that. And it was nice to hear his comments on it, how he got his confidence back. But to put in perspective, I imagine New Orleans is going to be in the running for the #1
Yes,
overall
they are.
draft pick. And when you watch this game, at the end of the game, New Orleans had the ball with a chance to win. So it's not like they just went out and lit it up. And having Christian McCaffrey is a little bit like a cheat code, because you just hit the check down and then he goes and does
Right.
really
I-
good, really
You
good
can't say
things.
thank you to that.
Gotta
That's
have
the whole
somebody.
point.
So
who's on-
Mahomes doesn't have anybody, and you see how he's looking out here. I mean, come on, you need help.
But the whole idea of the years of arguments have been that Shanahan's system plus a modicum of talent, much less
there's
an
no-
embarrassment
that's
of
not
riches.
the case.
It's just CMC.
Right, and look
That
what he did. So imagine if he had the whole.
But
crew.
no, Nick,
Exactly.
your argument has been Purdy's had all this help. Everybody needs help.
That's-
Mahomes has had tons of
that's
help.
fine.
And maybe-
I'm not saying he's as good as
That's
Mahomes.
fine.
I'm
maybe
just
Mac
saying.
Jones has matured, just like we saw with Sam Darnold, just like we saw with Geno Smith. These guys
Right.
can get better
Thank you.
as they stay in the league longer.
Mac-
All right. A lot of good stuff there, actually. Okay, where do we start? Okay, first of all, we're in an era now where if you're not instantly good, you're bad. But that's not anybody who knows NFL football history knows that that's not the way the quarterback position has gone. Bradshaw wasn't good right away. Roger Staubach wasn't good right away. Kenny Stabler wasn't good right away. Terry Bradshaw wasn't good right away. Sonny Jurgensen wasn't good right away. I mean, Dan Fouts wasn't good right away. Steve Young wasn't good until he was 31. Steve Young was not Steve Young, Hall of Famer, until he was 31. 31. And we're taking guys who are 22, and if they're not good in their first, if they're not just in a meteoric rise to the top, they suck. Well, what happens to the guy who gets better? Vinny Testaverde was terrible with Tampa, but he was pretty good late in his career with the Jets and the Ravens, wasn't he? There are guys. Geno Smith was terrible early. He's getting better. He's had a 70% completion season in recent years. People think that he's a totally different quarterback. So, one, you got to give guys time to evolve. What, Mac Jones, you're going to kick him to the side of the road and give him up for dead because what? He was a Pro Bowler in 2021. His offensive coordinator was Matt Patricia in 22. They switched to Bill O'Brien in 23, but he had no receivers. Then he was backing up Trevor Lawrence in 2024, barely played. When he did, and he's on a bad Jaguar team. And then it's this year. And he's looked good all summer. He really has. I would say he's completed about 80% of his passes. He looks really good in this system. But it always kills me too. It's like, oh, this is the, why do we have to put Mac down to, because he's playing in Kyle's system? And we got to put Brock down because they're playing in Kyle's system. Like the system is doing it. And that's a bunch of bullshit. The system is not doing it. The players are doing it. Because when Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt in week 13 of the 2022 season and Brock Purdy came on in relief, I jotted down the stat that they put on the TV screen that day, which was, non-Jimmy Garoppolo quarterbacks under Kyle Shanahan in his tenure here in San Francisco it was 9-29, 9 wins and 29 losses. And yet these guys are like, anybody can win here. Well, what about Hoyer? What about Beathard? What about Mullins? What about Lance? There were a number of guys who haven't been able to work out here. Let's not pretend that every quarterback that puts on a uniform for the 49ers in the Kyle Shanahan era is just immediately Pro Bowl. That's a fallacy. 9-29 was the record of all non-Garoppolo quarterbacks in the Shanahan era until Purdy showed up. When you watch Brock Purdy, do you sit there and go, Brock Purdy sucks and he's all a product of Shanahan? I don't think there's too many Niner fans that have that belief. That Brock is really ass. But you put him in Shanahan's system, he's great. They never even mentioned the fact that when Brock Purdy was at Iowa State, I'm not talking about, Oklahoma in the 80s, I'm talking about Iowa State. They went to a Fiesta Bowl. They contended for like a national championship one year. They played at a really, really high level. And I believe the year that he left, they went like 1-8 against the conference or 1-5 against the conference. I forget what it was. It wasn't good. So, did Matt Campbell make Brock Purdy? Did Iowa State make Brock Purdy? Or was Brock Purdy pretty damn good at Iowa State? And maybe Brock Purdy made Matt Campbell. Maybe Brock Purdy made Iowa State. Maybe Brock Purdy elevated his team. I think that's probably more along the lines of the truth. And then he came into the NFL and he's elevated the Niners. So, I don't know. Everybody's got a different thought on this one. There's a group of people that just don't want to give it to Brock. Don't want to. And, his point is, hey, they paid him too soon. They paid him too soon. Is that your take? If you're a Niner fan and you're watching and you're in the chat, based on what you saw Sunday from Mac, did the Niners pay Brock too soon? Could anybody step in and do a reasonable facsimile of the job that Purdy does? See, I don't buy that. I'm not buying that. He's got escapability. He's got processing ability. He knows where to go with the ball. He's unflappable. Some of these windows that he was throwing in the summer were really tiny. He doesn't have a lot of margin for error. He got by last year with the slowest wide receiver core in the entire league. There was no separation at all. He still had a decent year. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this, but I feel like they're trying to take away from Mac and take away from Brock. And it's like, it's funny. When Shanahan falls short, it's like, Shanahan, he can't win the big one. Shanahan, they'll never win with Shanahan. There's all these negative Shanahan people. And then as soon as it gets time to, hey man, Brock played well. Mac played well. It's all Shanahan. Shanahan's system. What do you expect? Really? The same system that Jimmy ran when Jimmy basically wasn't even allowed to throw passes in the playoffs. I don't remember CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins looking great in this system. Trey Lance sure sucked. I know they had kind of a different game plan for Trey, so that might have been part of it, but he was operating the same system, right? The Kyle Shanahan system didn't benefit him. So it's kind of neat how that works. Kyle's system benefits certain quarterbacks, but other quarterbacks remain shitty. I mean, it's like, and this back and forth where, which just anything at all to just have a drive-by on Brock Purdy. Mac Jones plays a really good game. That's really what happened is, if you want to have a good discussion, a meaningful discussion, here's a meaningful discussion. Mac Jones is smart. Mac Jones understands he was a first-round draft choice. Mac Jones understands that he was a bust in New England. Even though he made the Pro Bowl his rookie year, if you ask 32 NFL general managers to describe his tenure there, they'd be like, he's kind of a bust. And Mac understands that that's the perception. And he understands that you don't get forever. And that's why he was willing to come here, because he saw what Shanahan and Purdy did for Darnold. He saw the big bag that Darnold got in the offseason. And he's like, hey, you know what? That could be me. I'm better than Darnold. I think he is better than Darnold. I don't think he's got the same arm or quite the same athlete, but I think he's a way better processor. I think he plays on time. I think he knows where to go with the ball. I think he's got a better football IQ as a decision maker in the pocket. I even like the fact that, Mac Jones scrambled in this game on Sunday for 13 yards. I thought that was one of the biggest plays in the game. That was a key first down on that first scoring drive. Who knows how that game goes if that drive stalls out. Instead, he picked up the first down and they wind up scoring the touchdown. So, I don't know. It sounds to me like, I'm Nick Wright. I told you that Mac Jones sucks. And even Mac Jones in Shanahan's offense can produce. And that's why they never should have paid Purdy. It's like such a twisted logic. It's like, whoa, you really have to twist yourself into a pretzel to kind of figure out his reasoning on that. So Mac isn't good. Shanahan makes him good. Purdy, even though he's had a lot of success, he wasn't worth the contract because guys like Mac Jones can play well in this offense, even though it's just one game. You can't pay the Purdys of the world. How about let's instead of trying to act like Kyle Shanahan is Bill Walsh, Joe Gibbs, and Gil Haskell, one of the greatest, Don Coryell, all wrapped into one. Let's not pretend that Kyle Shanahan's the greatest offensive mind of all time, and maybe give a little bit of credit to the quarterbacks. Because I watched Carter Bradley this summer. He's operating the same system. I don't remember. He was not good. He looked like he struggled to see it. So how come Kyle's system is so favorable for Mac and for Brock and so unfavorable for Carter Bradley? Or maybe it has nothing to do with the system. Maybe it just has to do with who's good. And maybe Brock's pretty good. That's why maybe Iowa State was pretty good. And maybe Mac Jones is, 56 touchdowns, 7 picks in his career at Alabama. Maybe, there was a lot of good talent there, but maybe Mac's pretty good. So I don't know. To me, it seemed like it was a kind of a way to backhand both guys and not really give credit to either guy. All right, let's go with what happened today in Ninerland, and then we'll look ahead and do a little comparison on the Niners and the Cardinals. Both teams 2-0 out of the chute. Okay, so what happened today in Niner news? First of all, they signed Robert Beal back to the practice squad. That was actually yesterday. So Beal is back in the practice squad. Nobody claimed him off waivers. 6'4", 260, he runs 4.48. Nobody claimed him off waivers. Sounds like the league kind of doesn't believe in Robert Beal Jr. But the Niners drafted him, and they'll try to make it work, and they'll throw him a spot on the practice squad. So he's back on the practice squad. The Niners have an injury to Spencer Burford, and so they worked out tackles today. And I don't think Burford can do it. I really don't. And I really don't think Pleasance can do it. When I say I don't think they can do it, I don't think they can stand up to the elite speed rushers in the NFL and keep them off of Jones or Purdy. I think the Niners are a 2 offensive tackle team, with McKivitz being a solid right tackle, and obviously Trent is Trent. But if they lose one of those guys goes down, I don't know. At that point, I think if the Niners have to lean on Pleasance or Burford, I think they're cooked. So that's one that's one angle to be looking for in the next few days. What's up with Burford as far as health? And he hurt his knee in playing special teams. And I don't think this is a huge loss. Nothing against Burford, but I don't think he's got the footwork to play tackle. There's a reason, guys, that you don't see guys go from guard to tackle. You see guys go from tackle to guard, but you don't see a lot of guard to tackle transitions. Why? Because if you could play tackle, if you have the ability to play tackle, you play tackle. They pay the tackles more than they pay the guards. So if you're a great tackle, why the hell are you playing guard? You'd be playing tackle. It's like, if you could make $500,000 a year doing something, why the hell would you make 100? Right? I mean, it's like, that's tackle versus guard in the NFL. The tackles make the money. The guards don't make as much money. They make good money, but they don't make as much. So if you can play tackle, you're a tackle. And I just don't think Burford can play tackle. He was a tackle. He was a right tackle at University of Texas at San Antonio, blocking for Sincere McCormick, who's now on the Niner practice squad. But Niners have used him exclusively at guard. Now, some people think that he's a better tackle. I've heard even Shanahan, I think, suggested he might be a better tackle. I got to see it. I'm not seeing it. What I saw was a guy that false started all summer and couldn't handle speed. Now he can handle bull rush because he's powerful. He's got long arms, great base, a lot of power in his legs. So he can halt a bull rush, but he doesn't look like he's quick enough to kick out against the best speed rushers this league has to offer. I mean, there were some reps this summer where Bryce Huff just burned Burford and Pleasance, just made them look bad. Look really, really bad. So the Niners today worked out a bunch of offensive tackles, 5 to be exact. Raven Clark, Chris Hubbard, Brandon Parker, who's a gigantic-bodied guy who's been around the league a while, Zachary Thomas, I believe, and Matt Wolatsko. So I'll have to do a deep dive on some of these guys because I don't know. I mean, I know Parker used to be a Raider. He's got really, really long arms, huge stature, for a tackle. I just don't know if he can do it. He's got the good enough footwork to do it. But yeah, they're looking for a tackle, and they should be looking for a tackle because I really think they're one tackle injury away from this season kind of getting away from them. There was another cut that I wanted to share with you guys. Cam Jordan talked today, and he was frustrated. He's frustrated that the Seahawk fans or the Saints fans were basically all rooting for the Niners, and he didn't like it. And I get that, right? I mean, if you're a home team guy, you're sitting there in your home stadium and you hear this huge groundswell of support for the visiting team. I don't know. I mean, that right there makes you go, wait a second. Why are these people super into the visiting team? All right, here we go. We're going to play. We'll share the screen and you guys can check this out. Here's Cam Jordan, whose agent is the great Doug Hendrickson of San Jose State fame. But here's Cam Jordan talking a little bit about the crowd yesterday in the Superdome.
I was asking earlier more about just the volume of 49ers fans that were in here. Was that surprising to you?
Yeah, didn't like it. Didn't like the noise coming from them, especially when the Saints Nation has been so strong for so long. One of the rare instances where you could actually hear an opposing crowd and in a loud manner. So we gotta give our team more ways to win. We gotta figure out how to give the city more hope, and hopefully that shit never happens again.
Yeah, the Niners crowd travels, man. They really do, and they're loud, they're boisterous, and the Who Dat Nation didn't like it. I'm sure. The Saints are in a rebuild, whether they can admit it or not. They're in a rebuild. They don't have a quarterback. They got a first-year head coach. They'll probably trade Olave. They'll probably trade Kamara. They may trade Granderson. They'll probably make a couple moves at the deadline at the end of October that pairs off some of their better players on some Super Bowl contender. So it's not their year, but usually their fans are very supportive. And, man, the Niner fans packed the house. Once again, back to Mina Kimes' point of, it's not a great situation. Really? The 49ers are not a great situation? I mean, seriously, what team neutralizes a road crowd better than the 49ers? And they really do a nice job at neutralizing a road crowd. They play a lot on the road as far as, they play. Everybody plays the same number of home and road games, but I mean, they're a team that travels really well, and they bring a bunch of people on the road. The noise in the building is always, 50-50. The one that was the most amazing to me, guys, was a couple years ago at Heinz Field, week 1, where the Niners beat the Steelers, and like early fourth quarter, you can hear Niner fans in unison. Let's go Niners, that whole deal at Heinz Field. I mean, this is like, blue collar city. They're diehard for their Steelers. And yet, Niner fans bought up all the tickets. So, might have to do with the wealth of Niner fans. Niner fan, there's a lot of people that have a lot of money in Northern California. It might just be that this is a great way to support their team, to go out on the road and follow them around. But yeah, it was amazing. How about this? The pilot on our flight from SFO to Houston. This is not even going to New Orleans. This is going to Houston. He's like, welcome to Houston, blah, blah, blah. It's blankety blank central time zone, and it's 88 degrees with 98% humidity. Welcome to Houston, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, oh, and good luck to all you 49er fans. Good luck this weekend. I'm thinking to myself, the game's in New Orleans, it's like there's people that are just flying from SFO to Houston going, what the heck is going on? You're wishing in Houston on the tarmac, you're wishing 49er fans good luck with their game with the Saints. So that was interesting. But yeah, the Niners travel, man. And Cam Jordan and these guys, they're tired of it. They don't want to see the Niners and their fans. It's the last thing they want to see. All right, a couple other Niner notes. Ben Bartch is out 4 to 6 weeks, high ankle sprain. Guys, I love Ben Bartch. I think he's a really good dude. I think he's a solid player. He ain't never getting that job back. He gone. I'm not saying he's gonna be cut, but he's gone as the starter at left guard. It's gonna be Connor Colby. Connor Colby made 50 career starts. He knows how to position his body. He's a veteran-like rookie. And I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the left side of that line is going to be him and Trent the rest of the year. So maybe if Brendel gets hurt, maybe Bartch gets in there. Maybe if Pooney gets hurt, knock on wood, maybe Bartch gets an opportunity there. We'll have to see. But Yeah. Ben Barch out 4 to 6 weeks, high ankle sprain. Connor Colby likely to start Sunday against the Cardinals. There's a couple other couple other things I want to mention. Greg Papa, the voice of the 49ers, returned to host his radio program today from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Welcome back, Pop. He's battling leukemia and discussed it, and it looks like his brother's a good match for a donor, and so it sounds like Greg's going to be okay. Sounds like Greg's dreaming of a Bills Niners Super Bowl. I'll tell you what I said it a couple weeks ago, and after 2 weeks, I'll stay with it. I like Niners Chargers. I think 49ers, Philly, and Green Bay are the class of the NFC, and I think the Chargers are right there with any of the top teams in the AFC. How amazing would that be? How absolutely amazing would that be? Jim Harbaugh against Kyle Shanahan at Jed's Levi Stadium. The winner, I mean, it would be a crushing defeat if the Niners lost to Harbaugh at home. But how sweet. That would be one of the greatest, sweetest championships of all time. If you could vanquish Harbaugh in the building that he once called home. Oh, God, it'd be amazing. And the Chargers are good. Herbert, they got a lot of talent on defense. Though I think Khalil Mack might have broke something last night, but the Chargers are good. They really do. And I would not be surprised if it was Niners Chargers in Super Bowl 60. I'm trying to speak it into existence. Niners defense. Got to talk quickly about the Niners defense. We're right here at the end, but Niners defense ranks through 2 weeks. Listen to these rankings. In fumbles recovered, first. In tackles for loss, this is among all defenses in the NFL, second. In total yards allowed, sixth. In pass yards allowed, sixth. In points allowed, seventh. In turnovers forced, seventh. Third down percentage, seventh. Rushing touchdowns, seventh. I mean, a lot of little stats there that say that, you know what? Yeah, this might be a rebuilding defense, but it might also be a top 10 defense. Think about that. And to me, if there's one guy who's just awesome to watch, it's Bryce Huff. He got to the quarterback on the game-clinching sack Sunday in 2.44 seconds. It was the fastest any defensive end got to a quarterback at all this weekend. So Bryce Huff, have yourself a day. And the Niners have some real finishers there. Mac Jones, by the way, looked fantastic. His third down passer rating, 132.3. On third downs, he threw for 121 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Really good. Really good. Juwan Jennings, gamer. Battling a shoulder injury, not feeling good, got an ankle issue as well, suffered in the game. What does he do? He catches a 42-yard house call and finishes with 5 catches for 89 yards and very much looked like the best receiver on the field. So, what can you say about JJ? He just continues to go out there and produce and produce and produce. How great were Fred Warner and D. Winters? Those guys combined for 19 tackles. 19 tackles. Winters gave up 21 yards allowed on 5 targets. He had a 90.2 coverage grade. Fred had 11 tackles, a PBU, a TFL, a forced fumble. He had a 93.4 coverage grade. These guys look awesome. Really, really good. So the highest graded 49ers on defense were Fred Warner, Jair Brown. A lot of people want to trade Jair Brown. Bryce Huff, Nick Bosa, D. Winters. Highest graded offensive players, Trent Williams, Jake Brendel, Christian McCaffrey, Colton McKivitz, Ben Barch, Dom Pooney, Ricky Pearsall. Niners generated 22 pressures. 6 came from Bosa. 5 came from Huff. Those 2 guys had half the Niner pressures, 11 of 22. It's pretty amazing. Really good game for Mikael Williams. I thought Mikael Williams looked dynamic inside. Great game for Ben Barch, or for Connor Colby, who stepped in for Ben Barch. 100% grade for Connor Colby on 35 pass blocking snaps. Really did a nice job. Really, he had a pass block win rate. Colby, or the Niners had a pass block win rate of 80.8%. Fourth best among all teams that were playing yesterday. So they're looking good. They're looking absolutely really, really good. Fourth time, by the way, the Niners have started 2-0 under Shanahan. The previous 3, they've made it at least to the NFC championship game. So we shall see on that front. One quick thought on Arizona and the Niners. Both teams are 2-0. As far as points per game, Arizona's averaging 23.5 a game. Niners are averaging 21.5 a game. Total offense, Niners are 8th. Cardinals are 24th. Niners have 364 yards per game, where the Cardinals are averaging 284.5 yards per game. Rush offense, very comparable. Pass offense, the Cardinals' pass offense is 27th in the NFL, and the Niners is 6th. So Niners dominate the time of possession. They're 4th in the NFL in time of possession through 2 weeks. Niners are the better defensive team, 6th overall in total defense, 13th against the run, 6th against the pass, 16th. Both teams are tied with 4 sacks each, 16th in the NFL. So interesting. It's going to be an interesting battle. It's going to be interesting. The Cardinals have beaten the Niners in Levi's, and they're going to roll in with a lot of confidence. And these division games are really, really hard to break down. Very difficult to break down. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Niners Nightly. I'm back with you tomorrow night, a Wednesday night edition of Niners Nightly, and Todd Husak, the former Stanford quarterback, is going to join us. So check us out tomorrow night at 6. Tomorrow night, it's on the radio. So check us out on the radio, and then Thursday and Friday, we'll be back on YouTube. Thanks to all you guys for jumping in. Thanks for everybody in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys. Have a great night. Peace.